multiplication by subtraction. Focusing on less, not doing more. Doing more with less. The concept of 10x is easier than 2x is it actually takes the same amount of energy to go after bigger goals instead of smaller, linear, well, you're already on your way to it, next goals. Divorce was a 10x because there was a complete change of identity, and what was linear before in a marriage and a relationship that you're in, a completely different change.
You got to get rid of something to allow anything to come in.
I woke up one morning and got this message in a prayer, multiplication by subtraction. And like an hour later, let go of someone on my team that had been with me for 4 years, that I did not wake up that morning thinking that I was going to let her go. It was not on my mind. It wasn't something I've been thinking of. And understandably, well-meaning people around me were like, are you okay? Are you burning your business to the ground? Are you sabotaging? What is going on? And I was like, no, I got this message in prayer that I am trusting. And I think that God also wants you to be speedy in your obedience. And although it wasn't like, everything's gonna be great.
You're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
You're fine.
Not that at all.
I felt this unexplainable peace from it, even though there were a lot of unknowns and questions. And after that, it kind of set off this domino effect, ripple effect of more things that because then I got, that's not it. Like there's more to subtract. And then I let go of some other little contracts, projects, things I was doing, some even opportunities that I was all in on before. I was like, no, subtract. Turned off Facebook ads, said no to some things. And it was like, I love the word you introduced to me recently, radical deletion. And now I've been in this season of calming my nervous system by focusing on less, not doing more with less. I think that you're paid in proportion to your mastery, not how much you do or how hard you work. And so I've been in the season of like, what else can I subtract to get more?
It's such a powerful concept because we live, especially as business people and entrepreneurs, culture is very much like, how can I do more? How can I do more? What should I do? What should I do? Yeah, hustle your face off, And I'm so against that because it's, at some point, that road leads nowhere. You're gonna burn out, and I totally did. And I can look backwards on the periods of my life where I've had the most momentum. I'm accomplishing the most things with the most speed and the most ease, though also. And I just got rid of TV. Did I tell you that? I just got rid of my TV in there and unsubscribed from a bunch of anyway.
Great.
Because I'm just radical deletion.
Deletion, what you create a void. What is now created in that void.
Yeah.
It's so exciting to think about, even though there's uncertainties.
Yeah, and it's uncomfortable for a moment, but what was that? There was I can't remember who I heard this from, that most, it was a study about addicts. These addicts, people who are addicted to really hard, narcotics, crazy stuff. It's 10 days is really all it takes for them to kind of reset. And sure enough, temptations might be there or exist, but because they won't go through 10 days worth of discomfort, and not judging anyone either, but because they had to go through 10 days of discomfort, it takes years for them to detox this thing. And it got me thinking more and more about what I need to remove from my life. And, beginning of the year, goal setting, it's easy to say more. But it's just important to say, I'm going to stop. A to-do list and a to-don't list, right? And say, I'm never going to go do this again. Never going to do this again. I think we add so much stuff into our lives that it creates a drag effect. I heard this also recently to those massive freighters out in the ocean. Mm-hmm. They pay scuba divers to go underneath and scrape off all the sea life.
Yeah.
And so like, how do we get this freight, all this stuff, that we're shipping from country to country faster? They don't build a faster engine. They literally just scrape the sea life off the bottom of the ship. Subtraction. And that it moves with the same amount of energy faster. And a lot of us just need to delete things from our lives radically. It's not trying to, oh, well, everyone watches TV or whatever that is, you know? Yeah.
Once I subtracted these things that I was so previously attached to, I was like, wow, my nervous system was like really on overdrive. And now I get this season of like savoring my nervous system, and it's just choice. It was just reassigning what meaning I attached to how I'm spending my time and money and resources and energy. Because let's say I'm working on these projects and I'm so busy, if I just remove them, I'm not busy anymore, and there's no expectation that I need to be doing those things. But I've been very aware of what we talk about parts work a lot. Like we like to talk about the different parts of you that are in control of the circumstances. And you and I also talk about the different ages that might show up. Like if your 7-year-old memory is showing up, what age of you is also in control of these circumstances right now? And that's been a question I've been asking myself a lot in my goal setting and in my business and in my pursuits of, is the adult right now running a business, or is there a child in me right now that wants the validation and the look at me and I'm gonna watch what I can do.
Like that.
Instead of like, hey, we're actually really good.
Yeah.
Just savor it. I've had to remind myself a lot recently of, you have everything that you say that you want, and that's okay if you want to keep pushing and growing, but there's also no expectation or deadline or milestone or finish line. And going into 2025, I feel like my quarterly, my annual planning is going to be more focused around calm nervous system. I feel like that's what the elites have. Is I think a lot of people think you got to keep hustling to get to that level, but also I think the operation manual, the OS, is calm nervous system.
It makes sense. So you can step back and start just deleting and deleting. And then the things that you are saying yes to, you're saying yes to them more than beforehand, because now you're not saying yes to all these other things. You know, I love the word decision because it means to cut away all other options.
This is here?
Yeah. It's like completely cut away all options. Well, that also means to dealt, right? When you look at your year, look at the goal setting, the planning, how everything forward. It's like, I love that. As a Socrates, he said, nature calleth a void. Mm-hmm. And super cool business coach, he was like, we don't have to actually know all the answers on everything. We just have to know, we get to design vacuums, design voids, and nature abhors voids, so it helps you fill it.
Sweet hell.
Now, how cool is that? And so I think it's neat when you sit down and start writing goals. There's like different parts of it. There's clarity on the vision and the outcome. And then I also need to design the void in my life to allow for that vision to actually fit. It's not just like a mist. You think about it. It has to fit somewhere in my life. But if I'm constantly filling my life with like, you know, cheap dopamine TV, video games, you know, anything that is low, like there's literally not room in my psyche, in my energy field aura, get as woo as you want with it, for that vision to even enter. And so a lot of times, I mean, I think you and I can both think of people we've coached in the past who are just, they haven't done anything. They've floated around us for years. We're giving them all the answers, all the right, and we're like, if I could just. And then you look at their time, the way they spend their time, and I'm not judging, but there's no action following. And it's like, well, I will go and take the first step as soon as I see X happen in my life. But it's like,
it's a conditional attitude instead of a whatever it takes attitude.
Yeah, and it's often done by creating vacuum first. I like this principle in the scriptures too. There was I think it was, I don't know, it's in the Dead Sea Scrolls or whatever. It was interesting that it suggested that when Moses was splitting the Red Sea, and asking God to do that. And I was like, he didn't God, but like he was already in the water and then it split.
Yeah.
Right? It's up to his neck. He actually walked into the sea, and when it was up to his neck, then it split. That's void creation right there. That's the art of, and I feel like whenever we set goals, you know, like the SMART goal formula, there's two mistakes to make with it. The first is that we write down the goal and that's it. And we don't add a void in our life that allows the goal. And the second thing we make mistakes with is that we don't allow the future-based emotion to be in the present. You know what I mean? It's like we've been learning that skill set, and true manifestation is to visit the goal in the future, what it will feel like to have the outcome, and then come back to the present, carrying the emotion as if it was happening right now. And that's how we literally collapse time and pull the goal towards us. But you can't do that if there's no void, right? It's got to go somewhere. It's only so much mental shelf space. So, and same with our life. Like,
and so we talk about creating voids. Where are the places for people to look to say, okay, this is something I'm going to subtract to create a void?
Eileen, were you still? Sorry.
I have suggestions, but I was curious, Pierre.
Oh, I was going to ask you back, actually. You are exceptional at time studies.
I love doing time studies.
You do eat them?
I'm so dumb.
I ate them. This is so good. I mean,
I'm constantly doing what?
I think it's one of the reasons you get so much cool stuff done, but you also do it while you're like floating. You know what I mean? And like, I'll be like sprinting around like, there's so much to do. And you're like, time study, time study, time study. Ooh, look, I don't want to spend time on that anymore. And it's very systematic. Like, thank you. Any insights on that? Because you're really good at it.
The reason why I like doing time studies, and for anyone that doesn't know what time studies where you literally write down everything you do in 15-minute increments. So like, and if there are blocks, I mean, I'm like, I had a call with my operations team for an hour. So it's like just block off. That was an hour. And there's softwares for this. And actually maybe I'll put my affiliate link under the video. There's an app that I use that it's on my phone and on my computer, and so it's running in the background. And then when I switch tasks, I'm just used to it. I do it all the time, so I'll just switch it to the next thing. And what's cool is at the end of the week, I can track, here's how much time I spent in each of these things. So, and I actually will color code it. So I'll be like, my yellow is content. I see like content is gold. So I'm like, I want to spend a lot of time in gold this week. Green is money. So it's like clients, sales calls, speaking, like opportunities that are bringing into money. And then purple for me is like team stuff. And then I have other varieties, things like blue is learning or working out or something like that. So I want to see, they're not like equal in proportion, but the proportions that I want to see. And then there's like random colors if I'm like, well, that was a weird one off, or that's something I should outsource. And what this does is, first of all, I like it for accountability, because sometimes we get this amnesia at the end of the day of like, did I even do anything today? And then I look at my time study and I was like, dang, I did a lot. And I also have recently started doing this thing where I like just a little note section in my computer where I'll post my wins as I have them. Like, oh, this client said, or this prospect said yes to working with us. Like, that's a win. Or I got an email invitation from someone that wants to do a JV. That's a win. Because again, at the end of the day, we have a amnesia of like, oh, like if the last thing, like you're only as good as your last win or whatever. So it's like, if the last email you got at the end of the day, it was kind of crappy, it somehow makes you forget about all the other things. And instead, you train the reticular activation system to keep looking for wins. And this crazy thing happens. You win more because your brain's just looking for it. So I have my time study, I have my wins list. And my time study is accountability, because I also don't want to put on there that I scrolled on Instagram for 45 minutes. So that's another void we can create and just delete it from your phone. Crazy concept, hard to do, especially as social media entrepreneurs. And then at the end of the week, I can also assess and look at where were my constraints that I need to ask for help with or outsource. And I also do a report at the end of the day with my team. We have a Slack channel where this prompt comes in at the end of every day where we answer 5 questions. The 5 questions are, where'd you win today? I'll celebrate each other. What are you grateful for? Which usually a lot of there's some overlap in the wins and the gratitudes. What is everything you could do tomorrow? What's your top 3? And then what are your constraints? And the whole team sees this so we can support each other. And I love seeing my team when they respond or when they write theirs, because we're all virtual, remote. Sometimes I'm traveling, but it's a way that I still get to connect and see what they're up to. But anyway, all that to say that the time study is like, it's really fulfilling for me because I can look back for months and years now. I've been doing this for this long that I can see how my time has shifted and what my focuses are. And I mean, you talk about people that say that they're doing the things and they're not getting the results. Like looking at someone's calendar and their bank account, that's how you see what people really care about. And if I'm feeling this like stagnancy of, okay, I want to get a different result. Well, you've got to do something different. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And so something that I've thought about, and I can't remember where I learned this, but like there's something about spontaneity that when you do something spontaneous, it's like these different synapses fire in your brain. It like creates, I don't know, a new chemical confetti blast in your brain. I don't know. Yeah, that's the actual
chemical confetti.
I learned that from Andrew Hubermas. The podcast coming up.
He's staring at the sun and sprinting.
When I wake up, by the way, you think you're amazing.
When I wake up in the morning, I get outside butt naked, run full sprint toward while staring at the sun. For people that haven't heard that, they're like, what are you talking about? It was Andrew Huberman.
Huberman Husband's
Perry.
president.
I love that this is like a brand that people love Andrew Huberman.
Yeah.
Huberman Husbands.
Well, I am one for sure.
Anyway, the confetti blast that goes off in your head when you do something spontaneous, I think is just really important because when you're in the monotony or of a routine, and there's nothing wrong with routines, but what if instead of having a daily routine, you have a weekly routine where it's like, it's not repetitive every day because when there's repetition every day, time goes by really fast.
Your brain starts to delete time.
Because if you're living the same day for 40 years and calling it a life, like it's going to go by like that. But we also know what it's like where you're busy and you're, maybe you're traveling or you're having different experiences or like completely out of a routine. And you're like, wow, that happened on Monday. That felt like forever ago. Like this week, I mean, I was in Park City and Austin, and I was really only gone for 3 days, but it feels like forever.
It felt like it was a long time.
Because there was so much that happened.
When I did a ton as well, it felt like it was a long time.
That's how to expand time.
Yeah. So I think that's the weird part about this is that like when people set goals, like really you should set like one. Not this. I mean, I used to write like a laundry list. I'm going to do this, or what is this, or what is this.
Well, that's the everything you could do list.
For sure.
And it's good to get that out of your brain.
I like
that's really important because your brain is for creating, not holding on to things. So you do need to have the list of everything I could do, and that's my parking lot, and I'm going to keep it there. And I know that idea is safe there because I don't have to keep thinking about, I don't want to forget about this. I have to write a letter to my Aunt Sonia. I'll do it later. It's on the list. It's on a Sunday to-do list, but here's my top 3. That's 4. That's 3. Here's my top 3. And this is what's getting done today.
Yeah.
But also spontaneity. If I feel like, I've been in a bit of a routine. Sometimes I'll wake up and be like, instead of working from home, I'm going to work from a random coffee shop I've never been to. And like just that small thing.
And you've gone and done that.
I love doing that.
Yeah.
And it feels like, what an adventure. It's not that big of a deal. It's that I randomly Googled what coffee shop I haven't been to before and I go there. And the smells and the sights and the people that I'm around, it's this just reinvigoration. And even though I'm doing the same work potentially in a new environment. And I think that the environment is so important. I love that you say environment will grow you more than your willpower will. And spontaneity, I think, is part of that. Like, I think we'll have to ask Kendrick Huberman when he's on the show one day.
Yeah.
What that is. I know that he said something about when you do things that feel hard or challenging, you don't want to do, there is a part of your brain that grows. Like, cold plunges. You've been doing cold plunges lately. But also there's a thing about don't get into routine with cold plunge because you still need to shock your body in a way.
Just a little bit.
To get that,
whatever
rush.
Isn't it interesting though that really is like the confusing and kind of challenging nature of a goal setting where it's like, okay, if you set a ton of goals, you really set no goals, right? Fewer is definitely better.
Yes.
And there needs to be a vacuum in order for you to welcome into your life, right? But there's going to be no room for it. To grow is also to delete, right? But there also needs to be consistency towards the goal, yet spontaneity to expand time. And it's a weird balance. I feel like you do a great job of that, though, where in 1 week, I'll see you. I mean, you were gone all last week, all over the place.
I'm going in next week.
Right? And this week, you're all gone.
Just
For like a 6 weeks period, but you're going to, I don't even know, you're like circumventing the nation over and over and over, all over, speaking different places. And it's so fun to watch that. But you're expanding time, in essence. And there has been moments where, like, the last 3 days were awesome for me. But they were largely the same, you know? And I could look backwards and go, I think I did that and that and that and that. And adding in those little flavors of just change and spontaneity, I think is one of the keys to keeping a fresh perspective with the goal. Otherwise, it does get monotonous, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, we're kind of circling some concepts from one of our favorite people and authors, Dr. Benjamin Hardy.
His man.
On
For you too.
Love. He's just such a wonderful person.
Amazing pretty.
Two of, I want to say my favorite books, but everything he does is amazing. Like every single book, like anyone listening, go to Kindle, go to Amazon, every single one. The first of his books that I read, he was actually surprised that this was the first, because it was like his very first book that he doesn't really promote that much. It's called Slipstream Time Hacking. And so it's about expanding time, having more time. And he uses these like concepts of slipstreams and wormholes. And like sometimes you even meet someone that's like a wormhole into a completely different echelon of your life because of just one introduction or opportunity that you take. And it's not the linear next thing. It's the 10X quantum. You're in a completely different place in your life. And he talks about in this book, measuring time by distance traveled rather than time elapsed. And that was what made me understand like time horizons, and that we are living so much more time in our years than the previous version of us. If we were still in a 9 to 5, like when I was a dental hygienist, I worked 8 hours a day cleaning teeth over and over again. And it's like, if I did that, nothing wrong with that. Like that was a great career choice at the time. And people that do it, grateful for it. You going to the dentist next week? Ding. But like that's not the lifestyle that I wanted to choose. I want to live so much in my years. And you see the people that are like, yeah, when we're 50, we're going to go on that dream vacation to Hawaii.
Change the question. How do you do that next year?
Yeah. And that because that's the event horizon that expands time.
And you literally live more in the same amount of years because of more experiences. And going to the goal setting thing again with that, I think that's the beauty of it too, is like, okay, how do I set a goal, create the vacuum, but then still allow for the universe to surprise me? Because if you get too controlling, you know, and you don't allow for, I think we can talk about this because this is going to come after the fact that we're running Brian Tracy's sales team, right? Talking with
They come out of nowhere.
right? And Kiyosaki with their mastermind, like doing great. That fell in our lap because we're in pursuit, and that was a surprising thing that just we were in alignment, right? And then you're at the time I was filming this, you're going to meet another, right? Where the universe is surprising.
You like say the name, but then like
Go for it.
You're gonna have to bleep it out.
We don't know.
And also, I don't know if you're like, what if you can't say there's an NDA or something else?
I can. We had to ask.
Okay. Oh, you're allowed to say it? Mm-hmm. Great.
Yeah.
And actually, Robbie did already say it.
Yeah, he posted.
I already saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to LA, and actually I'm going in like 20 something hours, and having a meeting. I don't want to say it because if it doesn't happen, but then also if it does, like it just feels so
Very fast, they're manifesting and pulling it in. He's been wanting this for a long time. It's going to be part of it.
saying it.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a big deal.
if I say it,
Because I think it's just a good example of what happens when you have a clear one goal, not a laundry list, but then you have consistency in your life for the structure, but then you also leave the spontaneity for the room for the universe to surprise you. Because I was too controlling in getting towards my goal for a long time. I think it's half the reason I burnt out. It's like I have to have every single piece.
This way.
Yeah, from A to Z, I must see beginning to end before I'll even take the first step. I kind of got stuck in that.
I could see, like, you
know what I mean?
You had a good phase for a long time where you're like, I have to do this event, I have to do this challenge, I have to do these things. And nothing wrong with that.
It was
Like,
good.
all of them were amazing.
It was a little too much, though.
Yeah.
There was no room to be surprised.
And another Benjamin Hardy principle, 10x is easier than 2x.
Adding too much.
Anyone that's listening, Run, Don't Walk, get that book. It is not a must read. It is a must read multiple times a year because there are concepts in it that you keep relearning, or it's like every time you read that book, you're a different person. So you need to reintegrate with that new level that you've reached. The concept of 10x is easier than 2x is it actually takes the same amount of energy to go after bigger goals instead of smaller, linear, well, you're already on your way to it, next goals. The hack is clearer.
Yeah.
There's less things to do to get to the bigger outcome.
Yeah. It's like, it's easier.
Yeah.
Like the title itself is a lesson. 10x is easier than 2x. That thing's blown me away as well. And that's why I keep pointing out like where you're going, because the spontaneity piece, there's my favorite part of the 10x is easier than 2x is that you're going to move towards something, but you actually don't know how, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And so then you're allowing the universe to place little things in your path, and it will begin to conspire for your sake. It's not against you, but only if you're that clear on one goal.
If you knew
Set a million goals.
If you knew how to achieve the goal, you'd be operating from a past self-identity.
Oh, such a good line. Yes. Yep.
We're trying to shift and grow in our identity, and that means that we need to set impossible goals and goals that are so big that they require divine intervention. I don't know how I'm going to be in a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio someday, but there's probably someone listening right now that, wink wink, that knows him, or Scorsese, and it's like, hey, I know this girl. Who knows? I don't know. But I hold on to that image in my head so much. And, we have pictures of Leonardo DiCaprio in our house in random places sometimes.
Yeah.
And I just believe it. And I don't know how. But I can tiptoe my way in that direction by taking acting classes with this prestigious, amazing coach that I'm working with. Or I hired an acting business coach. I have a manager in it. Like, I don't know how, but it's going to happen. Or maybe this meeting this weekend with Johnny Depp.
At his house.
I went to Johnny Depp's house. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's...
But that's okay. The universe is surprising. And even if... it's funny because did you ever read... I was doing security sales in LA. I was a total poor kid and just... I was hungry because I was selling anything. I was actually running out of money and I was actually hungry. Like I couldn't afford food. And I was in...
motivating.
Yeah. But I also was like lost just in life. And I stole from Walgreens some food and a book.
And a book?
I stole the book, The Secret.
You stole The Secret?
I did. I literally stole The Secret. I felt so bad. 2 months later, I went back and told the cashier and paid for it.
How did they respond when you did that?
They were like, no one does this. That's weird. And I was like, I'm sorry, I just feel bad. That's not like me. But I just was in a bad place, And it's a crazy story. But when I read The Secret, the point is I read The Secret and I was like, you can't just believe, right? I was like, you telling me I can just believe that $1 million scenarios that start showing up in my life and then start showing up in my life? And the reality is, yeah.
What a concept.
If you build the vacuum, right, they will come. If you build the vacuum and if you radically transform and delete things from your life, and that's why I'm not surprised. Like, you're actually doing this stuff. I watch you do it. And I have multiple times told my own coaches Marley is natural at manifesting in a way that baffles my mind. Because to me, from almost like an engineer's brain, I keep trying to run rate, approach, plan things towards life. But you're like skipping while doing it. And it's a natural skill you have. It's a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would notice early on in our relationship when I was like, how are you doing that? I've asked that myself, how's she doing that? How's she doing that? How's she doing that? And it's one of the cool things, like we inspire each other. That's one of the biggest things I love about you. So I'm glad that you said,
well,
Dejani, that's it.
You've helped me to realize, because how many times have I said in the last 3 episodes, you can't read the label from the inside. Like, I couldn't see what my superpowers were. I'm really good at networking.
Very.
I know I can walk into a room and I can make best friends and I can get clients or I can get connections. Like, that's why, like, when I speak at events, it's like a 10-year event horizon just in one event. So, like, something crazy happens when I get.
Dude, it's happening right now. I'm watching it. You come back as a new human 3 days later. You do every beat for here.
And I have 3 weeks of speaking engagements and 1 more to come.
Yeah.
And I mean, yesterday, one of the connections was like, hey, you have a podcast? And I was like, yeah, we're launching in November. And he's like, I'm going to get this person to be guests on your show. Would you be okay with that? I'm like, I mean,
sure.
okay, sure.
Have we going to repeat those names yet?
Not yet. Well, you'll just see them on the show. Be sure to subscribe.
They're telling me.
Below. Buy our merch.
TheRaisins.com.
There we go. But you helped me realize I'm really good at networking. And I didn't realize that was a superpower. And then me being like, oh, I'm really good at that. And I have this belief that when I like to say this in what I teach with marketing, is sales is a transfer of energy and a transfer of belief. And so I think the same thing with content and how you talk to someone. Like, when someone's talking to you and they're scared or they have this imposter syndrome, like, you feel it. Or if they're trying to manipulate you, or if it's sales, they got commission breath, like, you feel it.
Yeah.
But when someone's like obsessed and passionate, you feel that too.
Yeah.
So even in my cold outreach, that I have reached out to huge names, the CEO at Paramount, the former CEO at Warner Bros., like, all these people that are ridiculously, like, out of my league. And I say that with a hesitation because I'm like,
Don't want credit.
there's no one out of your league. Like, there's the pedestaling thing is a disservice to both sides. But just to say that, like, I'm not in that world compared to where they are. Like, this is me trying to find the wormhole into another world.
You found it. It's so cool to watch. It's
Well, Gen X can also be a relationship. I mean, you and I talked about how you said it in a kind of hard, weird to say, but like, divorce was a 10X.
Yeah.
Because there was a complete change of identity, and what was linear before in a marriage, in a relationship that you're in, a completely different change. Like, that 10X your life and also was hard doesn't mean that it was 10X everything was better. And 10X isn't always easy. I mean,
Yeah.
even though 10X is easier than 2X, 10X doesn't mean that, like, oh, we just do less.
There's no challenges while I go for those.
No.
Yeah.
So in learning that one relationship can be a 10X, I started to just put myself out there and infuse my energy in any email or outreach that I do, that I'm trying to, like, imagine me just packaging up this envelope with, like, just pixie dust and being like, I hope it's received, and if it's not, or maybe it's a future thing. Like the one that I had a call with her recently, former CEO at Paramount, like, my Hollywood hero, like, she's incredible. I had a call with her. She got on a Zoom call with me, and we talked, and she poured it to me, and then we've been emailing back.
You guys have been communicating still.
And I'm like, and when I've shared this with some people, like, that I've made these contacts, and I'm going to Johnny Depp's house on Sunday, they're like, how'd you do it? And I'm like, you want to know the secret? Do you guys want to know the secret? I just asked.
Oh my gosh, you keep this.
I think that the extent of getting everything that you want in life comes down to your courage to ask for it and believe without reservation that you can have it.
And let's celebrate everything you've been doing, though, in the last year. Because a year ago, a little over a year ago, was the cancel culture video, right?
April, it was actually the day before your birthday, so April 21st.
So you're high.
23.
Okay, yeah. So, and then from there, you go and you win one of the New York Film Festivals with it.
New York and LA.
From there, old president of Paramount Pictures is shown it. And then it's also placed in several other places in California's. And even if nothing else comes from that, it was a symbol of dedication. And I think that matters. You know, when you're goal setting and you're starting to put things together in your life, like I want to transform, I want to change. It's Moses and you're right. You're going to walk up to the neck in the water before anything happens. And it's going to test your faith and nothing happens. Nothing's working for me. Everything's against me. Why am I abandoned God? Right. And everyone start blaming all this stuff. But really, like, nobody will take the steps. And it's just been so cool to watch what you've been doing. I mean, I've pinched my own self several times as I've sat down and realized, holy crap, I'm going to have to figure out what to say to Johnny Depp one day when I'm sitting next to him. And I'm like, hey, do you like toast too? As do I.
What pant leg do you put your
And
pants?
it's a lawmaker's time and a wonderful place to jelly to lay. What am I going to say? Like, you know, like I've had to sit there because it's so, you don't just write down, it's not a wish. It's an intention. And it's cool to watch you do it. And then I sit there and I just learned, you know, we've been together 4 years now, 4.5, right? And I've learned to sit down and just be like, okay, now Harley's going for this now, and I'm no longer questioning whether or not she's going to get it. I'm like sitting down, how am I going to emotionally prepare and handle it when I'm sitting next to, because it's no longer like, yep, okay, go for it. Yep, right here, right next to you.
I want to talk about
There's a powerhouse skill you have that it's like goals. When we say goal setting, I feel like it just cheapens what I'm watching you do, and it's so cool.
very good. I want to talk about evidence at 10X. But before I go there, I'm saying so we don't forget, but I want to talk about the meaning that you attach to what success looks like. Because if Moses didn't have the Red Seas parted for him until he was up to his neck, and it was like, but I still got wet.
Yeah, because like look at wet.
You missed
I split the sea.
the huge moment there.
But I'm wet.
For me, the cancel culture documentary, I spent a lot of money on. I did not make money on the documentary. Like I spent, and when we went to the film festivals and people were like, who funded your film and who was your director? Who produced it? And I was like, me.
And they were shocked for okay.
Yeah. And I was like, how do you make money? What do you need? Like, how do we get funding? Tell me more about this.
And then you won.
Well,
That's fine.
so, but I say that to be like,
Oh my God.
I did make money from my movie. I did not get an ROI financially. And if that's what I focused on, instead of, this isn't over. Like this is a seed in the ground in this new world that I slipped through a wormhole to enter. And one relationship can lead to the next, lead to the next, lead to the next, lead to the next. There are people who I don't even know their names who may have been impacted by that, both good and bad. There are people on YouTube that have reaction videos to it where they are slamming me. They have way more comments on their video than I have on mine of people, you know, calling me a grifter or whatever. And there are people that I don't even know that had been impacted by that. I did not make a financial ROI on it. But I certainly made an ROI in like intangibles. And I think in business too, you get a lot of that. And there's people that I'll get on sales calls with, and you probably have this too, where they're like, okay, but how fast am I going to see results from this? How fast can I get an ROI from this? And what I do with YouTube and content with business, there's not always you'll get 100,000 subscribers in 6 months or you don't pay. I can't guarantee that for many reasons. But I also have clients, and some that I love sharing, you know, Chris Abbott's story that I did not know is at the time, he told me later that he spent his last $2,000 to work with us. And then the next month made $82,000. Guess how many subscribers he had on his YouTube channel?
It was like 100, right? Something.
170.
So it's nothing.
Yeah.
But I need $1 billion to actually get any ROI.
And then even like 2 years later, he spoke on stage at my event, and there's this slide. I love this slide that he was like, Marley helped me go from $0 to $4 million, like with my YouTube channel.
And saved 1,000 people from suicide, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
It's interesting to note, I think, that when setting an impossible goal or setting a goal that you're, you know, and I think we're both kind of like learning the skill still, parts we're natural at and not natural at. There's like, it's an interesting point you bring up, because it's like we also have to come up with a new way to measure progress, because our old way is set in old identities and in the past and 2X, Yeah, it's almost like it's a reinvent a measuring stick. I don't know what this water is like, but I'm just going to sit in it for a while.
And don't we want to play the longest game possible? Like, I want my business to last longer than 3 months. So these like microwave economy, instant gratification mindset of I want to put $1 and get $2 out, but even if it only works for a flash in pan moment, don't we want to shift that into like, actually, I want a legacy brand. I want the content that I put out today to still be seen 10 years from now.
Right.
I want people to still talk about me and the impact that I've made instead of just I'm putting money into this Facebook ad, and when I stop, then people stop seeing it and people stop buying.
It's like when people message and they're like, Steven, I tried your thing and it didn't work for me. I'm like, what part? I'm like, well, it didn't even work. Like, what part? And they can't even tell you what step 1 is. Like, it didn't work for me. I'm like, you didn't work for it. And you also didn't allow for the ambiguity to settle in for a while and court the ambiguity and the questions. And, you know, and I think it's the nature of it. And I feel like they were doing this also at the beginning of the year where it's like, if there's one thing I feel like we could tell people is like, set one goal, make it an epic goal, and then allow yourself to recognize that you are not qualified for it yet. Like when people sit down, it's a gift, right? It's like, well, they're saying I'm not good enough. They might be right. You actually might not be qualified for what you're asking for right now. And now it's time to change and grow.
Think about
Radical deletion. Get rid of crap first.
Think about your challenges 3 years ago that felt impossible to you at the time.
Yeah.
And you today is like, oh yeah, I got that now. It qualified you for where you are today and what you are doing now. I love when you say like, you might be living your hook right now. You might be living in the story, but then becomes the inspiration for someone else or becomes the next 10X pathway that you wouldn't have been able to even comprehend or see what was in front of you, because if you're just like focused on, well, this is what I have to do in this way, you don't see the peripherals of these other opportunities that could be coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's huge.
Like if you're like, I want to make $1 million. I want to make $1 million. I want to make $1 million. Okay, I have to make it through this business. I'm going to sell it to this person. I'm going to speak at this event. I'm going to do these things. And then like one day you're sitting on a plane and someone next to you, you strike up a conversation and they're like, I would like to invest in your company. Here's $1 million check. Ooh, like it can come up in so many other ways. Yeah. You have to also be unattached to the how and remembering that if you know how, you are operating from past self.
So it's funny you say that because then someone's like, I want this outcome, I want this goal, but I don't know how to do it. Good. That's a sign. That's not a bad thing that you like. I don't know how to do it. That doesn't mean no. That doesn't mean don't go here. You showed up ass. Like that just means now you get to go learn and unlearn.
Oh, it's unlearning. Actually, so that's another angle I'd love to take. I just want to wrap up soon.
Yeah, sure.
I had dinner with Ben Hardy and I was asking him, how do you set a 10X for a relationship?
I remember that because
I was like, I would set 10X goals for, I mean, I can think of business because it's usually attached to like a money or an impact or an audience goal or some kind of thing like that. And, you know, health is like, well, I want to be fitter, I want to be healthier, I want to, get this result on my test or whatever. What's a relationship goal? Well, like a 10X relationship goal. And I could totally see things like, having kids, oh my gosh, keeping a tiny human alive, that's a 10X. That's a completely new identity.
Tiny humans.
I remember when I first, when it hit me, that not only am I going to be a stepmom, that I'm going to help take care of these kids. Like, I'm not just babysitting them. I have a responsibility for their mental and emotional well-being. I was like, oh my gosh.
Has a tax moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I was like, what other things are there for a 10X in your relationship? And he said, it can actually be removing something in the relationship. Like, is it a mindset? Is it a belief? And, is there something that you guys are holding on to for like an operating system in your relationship that maybe is holding back from spontaneity, maybe it's holding back from opportunities, maybe it's a move, a community, is something that changes and adds, if the spontaneity in the business or in your relationship, the spontaneity in your relationship, hope they re-ended that. And you and I recently had a 10X that I did not see coming.
I actually didn't figure that out. I thought that's funny you're thinking that too. That was with Ben Hardy when you were having those giant tomahawk steaks, right?
Yeah.
We had tons of them. It's like wasn't that right?
Tomahawk steak.
That was amazing.
Um,
Yeah. I remember you asked that, and I was surprised by the question and his answer, because I thought it was going to be. It was very much like you didn't answer it. It was like, well, what do you think? Kind of a quick answer. But yeah, for us, it's been prayer. We've been praying together in the evenings almost every night.
And when we're away, sometimes we'll voxer it.
Yeah, you'll vox a prayer, you'll send a voice message of prayer, write it out, and it's been a beautiful 10X moment, goal-setting moment that changed everything to have that level. It's just, there's nothing more special. I could listen to you pray the whole night if we wouldn't go to sleep, because it's a beautiful sound where I'm like, holy cow, she's communing with God and then asking for blessings on my behalf, and then we'll do it to each other. Sounds like it's one of the sweetest things that I have ever experienced.
And me only recently becoming Christian, I didn't even know what prayer was. And so to do that with you, I never saw that coming. And there's a podcast, I've listened to it 3 times. It's so, probably more than 3 times, in and out of, sorry, I want to say that again. There's a podcast, I listened to it so many times. It's 3 hours, but it's Tim Ferriss and Arthur Brooks. Arthur Brooks just wrote a book with Oprah, so I hope that he gets huge within this content. Is incredible. And he talks about that one of the most vulnerable things for couples to do together is pray.
Yeah.
They can, be naked together. They've obviously, touched each other's bodies and stuff, but not us. Oh my gosh, there's a joke there.
Give it a little bit. Let's throw it in another one.
But he's like, what is so vulnerable to these couples is pray.
Yeah.
That there's a lot of couples that they have not. And I made a post about that and shared that this is something we're doing. And I was so touched in the comments where there were some people that were like, you're right. Like, I could never pray in front of my husband. And I was like, now, I felt that before we did start praying too. Because I also felt like, well, I'm just a baby Christian. I don't even know how to, I'm really not doing the right.
Right, sure.
When I visited your parents last week, they asked me to say the prayer when we were saying goodnight. And I was like so touched and flattered that they asked, but also a little intimidated, like a little imposter syndrome. Oh my gosh, I'm just a baby Christian. I'm probably
the professional prayers.
No. But it was really special. Anyway, it's interesting to hear that that's one of the most vulnerable things for couples to do. And then I love that in the comments of my post where I shared it, there were a lot of people that were like, I'm totally going to do this tonight with my spouse, or yes, we do it. And it is the 10X in a relationship. So
it's the behavior shift, and I think that's like when you sit down and you start thinking about goals, they need to set goal setting pieces. It's important to recognize that you don't qualify for what you're asking for yet, which is why you don't have it. Unless you're literally being lazy, which is also its own form of identity crisis and things to fix, but you're not good enough. You are not good enough for what you're asking for yet. And that's okay. But people and I have used that as a whip, as self-inflicting whip, or like, I don't qualify. I wish I could. How come they can and I can't? And I definitely got comparative for a little while there. And I can look back now and see I wasn't good enough. Right? And it's a stand-up moment. And you have to change a lot about your life. And it's funny that I'll talk with people who just need to make simple shifts in their life that they don't think actually relates to the goal they need to go toward. And they'll get offended by it when you pointed it out. And you're like, well, are you making a vacuum? You only have so much space in your life. You got to get rid of something to allow the new thing to come in.
if you don't have what you want, it's because you haven't yet become the person who can have it.